Now I have a family and cats. Written by Niko. Summary. Part 2 of my fic. Who needs a family? I've got cats. Basically just life in the Eraserhead family with his 50-plus cat army of strays. Featuring Shinsou, Izuku, and Aizawa loving it, while Yamada, surprisingly, has to act as the voice of reason that no, they cannot adopt 50-plus cats. Hisashi wasn't expecting to adopt a kid today, but he's willing to take in one more, especially if it's the kid that his husband had been talking about for months. Really, he didn't know how it took him this long to find the kid, considering the number of cats following in his wake. With that thought, he turned his focus back to the conversation that was going on between Hitoshi and Izuku. "So you really don't have a cat quirk? They just naturally like you?" said his son, looking somewhat in awe. Izuku just nodded his head. "Yep, once you become the only one to feed them, they become quite loyal. I don't know how, but they always seem to find a way a way to find me. So don't be surprised if they end up outside your window meowing to be let in." Hitoshi's eyes widened and Hisashi already knew what was coming. "Dad, Pops," he started. "Absolutely not. We already have 3 cats. We're not getting however many Izuku has. Where would we even put them?" Hisashi says, not taking his eyes off the road for a second. "But Hisashi." "No but, Sho. Seriously. Why am I even surprised? Look, babe, I love you, and I love the little listeners, but we don't have the room for all those cats. I mean, we've been talking about moving for a while now." "Sho, even if we did move, which now that you mention it, we do need to move if the boys don't want to share a room. There still wouldn't be enough room for the cats." Shota and Hitoshi just sighed before Izuku piped up again. There's only a few that would be willing to be indoor cats anyway. Mrs. Whiskers here's one of them, and then there's Niko, Sunny, and Cloudy, which are sister cats who with minor quirks. Sunny produces light, while Cloudy makes the light fog. And then, of course, there's Rascal. Shock has to stay with me. I don't think she'll leave my hair. The rest of them would probably prefer it outside for the majority of their time, as long as I keep feeding them. The kid has a cat curled up in its hair. How on earth did he miss that? It was silent. It was dead silent as Izuku sunk into his seat a bit. "It's perfectly fine, Izuku. Fine, we can keep the cats Izuku just mentioned. But no more, you hear me? I trip over the 3 we have enough as it is," Hisashi stated, having fallen to the puppy dog as his husband and sons. Who cares if it wasn't legal yet? Izuku was already basically a son, had been sending his way. Hitoshi and Izuku cheered, while Aizawa hid a smile behind his hand. "Well, there's Mrs. Whiskers, Niko, Sunny, Cloudy, Rascal, Soup, Shock, Sneakers, who loves to chew on Sneakers. But I didn't name him 'cause of that. Sneakers has an invisibility quirk and trips up villains when I fight them. Then, of course, there's Mower, Fish, Lilac, Chainsaw, Gray, Cutthroat, Mustard, Jump, who also has a quirk that lets those who hold her jump higher. Don't ask how I found that out. Taboka, Taboka, Pudding, Clover, Lucky, Fox, who may not be an actual fox, but she's pretty chill, so we let it be. Carpet, Screw. Jesus, kid, how many cats are there? Aizawa asked, for once looking extremely shocked at the sheer number of cats Izuku had. And how do you remember all of them? Hitoshi asked, leaning over the arm of his chair, wide-eyed. It really it was really his Zashi's fault. He was the one who had brought up the question of just how many cats Izuku had. It was just over a month of Izuku staying with them, and they saw multiple cats come at different times of the day to be fed and petted by Izuku before disappearing once again. There's a bunch more, and I don't know how I remember all of them. It's pretty easy though. Oh, I've been meaning to ask, are cats allowed in the hero course at UA? Only 5 of my cats have quirks, and even then Sunny and Cloudy's aren't very helpful. Sneakers, Jumps, and Socks are though. Especially when you found me. Actually, when you found me, I had been in the process of finding a way to safely carry Jump around with me because you just have to have her on your person for her quirk to work. And then there's Shock and Sneakers. And then Shock and Sneakers are mostly there to trip up an enemy. And oh, jump here, so I can show you her. And with that, Izuku jumped up, no pun intended, and ran to their small backyard where a surprisingly clean white cat sat patiently, as if waiting for them. This is Jump. She's a true lady. She's very gentle and by much. Doesn't get surprised by much, Izuku said, scooping up the cat, who just stared at them uninterestedly before turning and licking Izuku's face. The three took note of Jump's eyes, one which was bright blue and the other dark brown. Here, Izuku said to his family as they watched. I enjoy you her quirk now. With that, Izuku slightly bent his knees and launched himself a good 15 feet in the air. On the way down, he seemed to float. On the way down, it seemed as though he was floating. Whoa, that's pretty cool, Izuku. I can see why do you want her with you all the time, Hitoshi said, already reaching up to pet Jump on the head. It all really depends on how hard I jump. When I first found out she had a quirk, when I first found out she had a quirk was because I jumped how I normally would, which usually has a lot of strength into it, and I accidentally sent myself 50 feet in the air, at least. Nearly gave myself an early death, Izuku laughed. As I nodded, Yue would probably allow the cats as long as they don't cause harvok, and are treated correctly. Yeah, Nezu would never allow animals to be hurt in his school, Hizashi finished up. Itsuki gasped. You think I'd hurt my babies? Why would you think I why do you think I said I was working on a bag to carry a Jump around in? It needs to be sturdy enough to keep her safe, but also be able to allow her to get out if she needs to. I want her to be safe in all of this. I know you do, kid. And don't worry, I know a woman who works in the support who will be willing to make a bag just like that. I'll, not- I'll notify her of it tonight, Aizawa said. Do you think we'll get Do you think when we get to you, I could take one of your last names? I don't want mine anymore. And since I'm your kid now, I think it's only right. You don't have to say yes if you don't want to, Izuku said after seeing the surprised look on Hizashi's face. No, no, of course you can, kiddo. I was just surprised. Whose name were you thinking? Hizashi said, a blinding smile on his face. Well, actually, I was thinking of combining them so that no one at UA, if I got in, would think you were playing favorites, especially because I'm quirkless, he said, still scratching Jump's ears and as she purred against his chest. What about Yamazawa? I didn't change my name from Shinsou for a lot of reasons, but I don't mind the whole combination name thing, Hitoshi said, picking up the cat who just finished eating. Ooh, I like that. Izuku and Hitoshi Yamazawa. Also, that's Juno you're holding right now, Toshi. So, Shota, Zashi, what you think? I absolutely love it. It sounds just wonderful, right, Sho? Hizashi was turn. Hizashi said, turning to his husband, who has been who has been crouched down to pet a cat. I think it sounds great, and I think it sounds great. You two still have a year before UA though, so I'd start training a bit more, if especially you, Hitoshi. You won't get through the entrance exam using your quirk. And Izuku, you should train more with jump, sneakers, and socks. It's only logical. Izuku and Hitoshi nodded and immediately ran inside. Oh God, what have I myself up for? Aizawa muttered under his breath as him and Hitoshi followed the boys inside, preparing for the future and what could come of it. I hope you enjoyed. Um, the link is in the description, like the last one. And the author, I'm sure, if you enjoyed this, would always appreciate um, comments and a kudos. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah.